Those boys do it again. The comeback catch beat Dallas in overtime. It's a special postcast edition of Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for joining me here on Locked On Jaguars. I am Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast, your daily podcast where it's your team every day. And we thank you for making us your first listen. It's a special postcast edition, of course, another victory for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it was absolute pandemonium in the stadium. They did it in the most fantastic way, coming from behind again. This time 27-10 in the third quarter to the Dallas Cowboys. And what can you say, man? The arena, the stadium was absolutely going crazy for this team. They stuck with them, and these guys really showed a lot of heart today. And I was really happy for them. I was happy for Shad Khan, who I bumped into today. Really happy for fans, man. The fact that you guys feel what this does, what this feels like for you. I just can't help but think of all the years of struggling, And now you got a guy that's a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion, in Trevor Lawrence playing for this team, and they never seem to feel like they're out of it. I spoke at length this week about the fact that it's good to have a characteristic and trait where you can come back and you get motivated and you never, ever quit. But I said you can't sustain that. It's got to be something that you have in you, but you just can't continue to think that that's how you're going to win games every week. So the Jaguars told me basically to hold my beer and shut up, because they got behind 27-10 and did every conceivable thing to give the game away. Fumbling, ETN fumbled on their second possession. They were letting Dallas play 7-on-7 pitch and catch. Dallas was doing everything they wanted to do. I hated the tempo of the game at one point because I felt like Dallas is so balanced offensively that they'll just do this, do a little bit of that, get 5 yards here, get 6-7 yards here. And that's the discomfort. I did not want them to be that way. I wanted the Jaguars to get out front. So the way when it got going in the second half, how Dallas got so desperate in the second half, and then started doing things out of their character, like they were trying to get themselves moving. That's the way I wanted the game to go in the first half. But we don't get to pick and choose, man. Trevor Lawrence, another remarkable day, 27 of 42, 318 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did throw the one pick in the third quarter as well as a fumble one late in the game. And I really thought when he fumbled late in the game was over. But here's another thing about Doug Peterson. He is like Andy Reid. He does not waste timeouts. You have no idea what it's like to watch a team have to call timeouts just because people can't line up right, and then don't have those timeouts at the end of the game when you really need them. I sat there when Trevor fumbled the ball on a long scramble at about the 35-yard line. When I thought the Jaguars, I told my friend John Shipley in the press box, I said, they're going to win this game. They're going to score a touchdown. They're not going to kick a field goal. Well, Trevor fumbled trying to make a play, and I looked up and it was like a minute and 30 seconds left, or a minute 28 seconds. And then I looked up at those little lines up underneath the Jaguar score, and it says they have 3 timeouts. I said, they're going to make Dallas going to use about 10 seconds, and they're going to have to punt the ball back to Jacksonville. And what made it even better is Coach McCarthy, which I have no idea why he did it, threw the ball on third down, and the Jaguars didn't have to burn their timeout. It was an incompletion. So now you have that timeout along with like a minute and some change. And then they made another boneheaded play. I was sitting there thinking, like, what are y'all doing? They let like 20 seconds go off the clock because when they lined up on after a review, the clock it was going to run. And I saw the official tell Trevor, now look now, and he came up there for like 17 seconds, let the clock. But anyway, they got the field goal, right? Then they go into overtime. Of course, you guys know what happened in overtime. They went 3 and out. Dallas got the ball back, looked like they were driving, and the tip drill. And Rashawn Jenkins got his second pick of the game and returned it for a touchdown. Look, you all saw it enough play-by-play, right? I'm going to tell you in just a second why this is absolutely, probably, in my opinion, now, from this point forward, this is the game, in my opinion, that changes the trajectory of this football team moving forward. It's going to change everything about the way folks feel about this team nationally, and then the way that they feel about themselves. It is an awesome, awesome day for Jaguar fans and for the Jacksonville Jaguars as they improved to 6-8 on the season and are one of the hottest teams heading into the last few weeks of the season to see if they're going to make the playoffs. First, I have to let you know that today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp Therapy Online. BetterHelp is exactly what it sounds like. It's BetterHelp. It's when life comes at you too fast and sometimes you don't know how to get back on track and you try to self-medicate and you try to do some other things and give yourself some therapy. Sometimes it doesn't work. You need professional help. You need folks that really, really know how to help you through life's tough situations and they can get you back on track. BetterHelp has connected over 3 million people with licensed therapists. It's convenient, secure, and accessible anywhere, 100% online. Therapists are trained to help you figure out the cause of challenging emotions and learn productive coping skills, which makes therapy the closest thing to a guided tour of the complex engine called you. Now, look, even the strongest amongst us, your boy, me, I had to get some therapy. And I also didn't want to make people who weren't qualified my therapist. So I used BetterHelp, and it absolutely helped me. Get unstuck with BetterHelp. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. Now, BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Get unstuck with BetterHelp. Today's show is sponsored by LinkedIn Job Solutions. My daughter got out of the military. She went on LinkedIn about a week before she got out of the military. She put her stuff on LinkedIn. They hooked her up with some interviews and put her in the right place, in the right space with the right people, and she was gainfully employed the day she got out. And you can do the same thing if you own a small business. Get connected with those people that are the right ones for you and your company. All you got to do is go to LinkedIn.com and then add your job and the purple hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you like to hire. I used LinkedIn when I was filling in staff in my barbershop years ago, and they're still kicking and doing the same thing right now, lining people up with those people who are looking for employment. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. You know what else applies? You guys apply pressure. That's what the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to do to people the rest of the season. They're going to apply pressure. And why do I think, as I told you before, we mentioned our sponsors, that this is a franchise defining game for Jacksonville? One is because everybody saw it. Okay. Now, a whooping is a whooping and a win is a win, whether people witness it or not. But you were all witnesses. Like my man say, the revolution won't be televised. Well, the takeover is being televised, and you are seeing Trevor Lawrence lead this football team to games that most people don't think that they can win. I saw Ed Werder. I spoke to him in the hallway. I saw Greg Olsen, and I wanted all of those people to bear witness. All of the folks that don't like the Dallas Cowboys, that were rooting for them to lose, I wanted them to see that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to do it. Now, when we did the crossover, Marcus Mosier from Locked On Cowboys, he even picked the Jaguars to win. Yeah. Marcus is not biased like that. He had a feeling about this game. And I live tweeted him and told him, I said, I told you there wasn't no punk. And he said, they sure aren't. And it's something about this team, man. I call them the comeback cats. Like I said, I don't think it's sustainable to keep doing that, but I'm not going to even fret about that no more. I know y'all don't care if they get behind 30 points every single week. you're going to stay tuned in because you know they have the capability and ability to come back. Dallas wasn't letting people sack the quarterback all year. Today, Arden Key went crazy and sacked the quarterback. They were putting pressure. Andre Cisco, I think there was one play in particular for him. He hit a guy down the sideline. The guy thought it was sweet, and Cisco came back this week after being out a couple of weeks, and he made a dude pay for real estate on the sideline route. And when he hit him so hard, I sat there and said, I think that might spark this team. And then Zay Jones turns into Jerry Rice again in the second half and ends up with 3 touchdowns. Christian Kirk started getting loose, shaking loose. Travis Etienne had over 100 yards rushing today. Every little thing seemed to work. And even with the Jaguars looked like they were stepping on their own toes, they brushed it off and they got right and they regrouped and they played well. Dallas went up late in the game. Dallas went up by 3, and I knew the game wasn't over. I just knew that is what having a great quarterback will do. It will let you know that the game is never over. So let me see. Let me read some of these comments real quick. Somebody called them the cardiac cats. I get it. I just didn't want to mention the word cardiac because I like that comeback cats because that's what they do. Someone is talking about why did Devin Lloyd not sack Dak? That's the wildest thing. Y'all been telling me all week that you got to move in the pass rush. I think he thought he didn't want to get a rough in the passer at that point, and I understand him being cautious, but you got to hit him. He could have actually forced Dak to fumble that ball had he laid the wood on him pretty good. So people are saying folks got burned too many times. Look, man, I want y'all to do something. Be positive. Don't be mad today. Don't be picking at all the things that went wrong today. There's too much that went right for everybody to be. Y'all get analytical tomorrow. Break it down tomorrow. Go through the tape. Bust it down like you always do. Do that tomorrow. Today, you need to pop a cold one when you get home. You need to celebrate. You need to feel good about what you saw the Jacksonville Jaguars do. Don't worry about what they didn't do because what they did is so significant and important, and it was witnessed by everyone. And they are beating good teams, and they are taking the best punch from good teams, and they're giving it back to them. This team is on the rise because of that quarterback and because of that head coach who held those timeouts and managed this game. I told you when they got Doug Peterson that the connection of the coach and the quarterback is so important. Now, I think there's going to be a marriage that's going to be made in heaven for the next 12 years. I think they will be joined at the hip. Doug Peterson might be the only coach Trevor Lawrence ever has. And if that happens, that means that they are going to be consistent. They're going to know each other so well moving forward. And I'm telling you, man, this is what you want in this city. They're going to get Calvin Ridley next year to add to the receivers they already have. They have another chance at draft. We'll talk about Trip Baalke another time. They're going to add more talent. You saw the guys fighting through injuries on the offensive line. Guys came back into the game. Travis Etienne was questionable, and guess what? He was back in the game on the next play. When they announced it when we were in the press box and he was in the game, I said, I can't believe he's in the game. Shout out to Jaguars media, took care of a lot of us today because it was really, really packed. There's a packed house in there. Shout out to everyone who's happy right now that the Jaguars are winning. Make sure you tune in to me. We're going to start talking about these playoff games. We're going to take it one at a time because they got a tough game next week. It's going to be cold. They got to go up to the Jets. And the Titans are losing right now. So they're getting closer and closer to being that team. You're going to start hearing people say they're the team nobody's going to want to play when it's time for those playoffs to start. And they're getting very, very close to being able. You think this is something. If they win these games and they got the Titans coming in here in the last game of the season for the division, you think today was pandemonium, and you think today was something else. You're going to think Michael Jackson and Marvin Gaye doing a concert in that place if it all comes down to the last game of the season. Check me out tomorrow on Locked On Jaguars. We'll go over this, review the game, talk in detail about what's coming for the team. But right now, man, y'all just pop a cold and enjoy. Put your feet up. Like Jason Garrett used to say, tighten that tie. Look at your football. Look in the mirror and see all that football self-esteem that you got going on. That's what I want you to do. Look in the mirror and see and tell yourself we winners. That's who we are. We've had enough of people talking bad about the Jaguars. They can't say nothing today because the Jacksonville Jaguars beat America's team and sent that stuff packing back to Texas. Tune in tomorrow here on Locked On Jaguars, where it's every day, your team, every day. We thank you again for making us your first listen. Y'all take care of each other and see you tomorrow.